All right.
Okay, amazing. Hi, I'm Anne Borsner, and I'm a theater and history double major. And so part of the reason why I wanted to go to Trinity was because they have an incredible history program. And I also really wanted to live in a city in Europe where I could see a lot of theater. And because there's the Abbey Theater in Dublin, and the student theater program at Trinity I was very involved in, called DU Players, and I did a show with them in the fall, which was super super incredible. It was an improv show, and it was 6 weeks, and I really connected with a ton of full-time Trinity kids, and I sort of immersed myself in the culture and the theater scene there. So that was super, super amazing. And I highly recommend anyone interested in theater or the acting side or the technical side. DU Players has this incredible program as well where they do backstage production, and you can do stage management or lighting. So I know a ton of people who did that as well. Um, and yeah, it was just super, super incredible to get to know a ton of kids who had a different theater background, and learn all about Irish improv and comedy through my experience. So yeah, and it was super amazing also bonding with all of the Holy Cross students as well. And it was great to meet people that I wouldn't have known on campus because we were all in different majors and did different extracurricular activities. So we would do a lot of family dinners and cook together and just explore Dublin. So yeah, it was an incredible experience, and I highly, highly recommend. Um, yeah, so I don't know if there's anything else I should
Yeah,
touch on.
could you talk a little bit about your history courses? Because they
Yeah,
do have one of the best history departments in Europe. So,
yeah. So I took um, 4 300 level history courses, and in the fall I took a popular culture in 20th century Ireland history course, which was incredible. And it was a very small class. There were only 12 of us, and it met twice a week for 2 hours, and we would just discuss a certain topic, gender or religion, really reading primary sources, secondary sources, all from the 20th century. And that was incredible just because I um, didn't know that much about Irish history. Obviously, I knew, you know, Easter Rising and all that stuff, which you'll learn in the pre-semester starter program, which was incredible. And that really taught me a lot about Irish history and Irish culture. But my history class helped me continue with that. And then I also took an Elizabethan Renaissance history course, and the professor was incredible. And it was just that same small class. I really felt that I could speak, and I was listened to, and it helped me expand my speaking skills, my critical thinking skills, and that's really helped me be more confident in my history class and just all my other classes as well. So it really changed me as a history major and student for the better.
great.
Yeah.
Did you have any anxiety about going for the year?
Yeah, I did. I was a little bit nervous just because as a theater major, it's hard to go abroad because they don't let you do any theater courses abroad. And I was nervous obviously about making friends and being so far from home, but I really felt that there was, there were so many kids from Holy Cross coming with me that I felt that I had this small family here. And the global studies, the study abroad department at Holy Cross and also at Trinity was super incredible throughout the year, and they would throw little events, and um, you could just walk in if you had any questions or concerns about classes. And yeah, I really felt by the end of the first semester that I was just starting to get to know Dublin, so it was really exciting to go back the second semester and feel settled, and like I really knew the town, and I had a group of friends. So obviously that got cut short towards the end, which was
Yeah.
devastating, but it was really, I'm so glad that I had the full year, because if I had just had the first semester, it was just so much adjustment that I don't know if I would have truly felt immersed in Ireland and Trinity. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anne. Tom, how about you?
Yeah, so I also study history. I studied history there, mostly in Trinity. Mostly I took history courses. I also took a few business courses, which was pretty cool because they actually managed to transfer, which we didn't think they would. But anyways, just for time here, I really wanted to add to Anne about the part of studying history at Trinity. Um, the way the courses are generally set up is you get like an immense reading list, and then it's kind of like you're expected to work through it yourself, and you should know generally each week in each theme certain materials from the list, but it's not like you have to read this by this day and blah blah blah. So you're kind of given a lot more freedom on what you want to sort of pursue within the class context. And I actually ended up reading I had the time to read a couple of like more theory based books that I don't think I would have had the time to read at Holy Cross on my own. And I plan on using at least one of the books, probably in my history capstone this semester. And so I just think having that like different way of the history department doing it, like it enabled me to kind of look at more sources and actually think ahead to my senior year to focusing more on my project back at Holy Cross, which I thought was pretty cool. And then for like my favorite history course, I took a class called Blood and Soil, the Histories of Transylvania, which is, I don't think I ever would have gotten taken here. But so the professor lived in Romania for like 15 years, and Transylvania throughout started probably like 1,000 into modern history is a bit of a microcosm for all of European histories. So we'd look at what happened to Transylvania and then tie that into like the greater historical forces in Europe at that time. And so that was just like a super cool class. And we got to cover a lot of historical theory, which I thought was pretty interesting just because that's what I like. And then some extracurriculars, I joined the golf club. Trinity has like a ton of societies and clubs. I guess they don't really call them clubs, but they call them societies. But anyways, the golf team is like a pretty close knit community, and they already had like 6 or 7 golfers that were like cemented on the team. But I managed to actually play in a match. We went up to Newcastle in Northern Ireland, and we played Queen's College of Belfast.
Ooh.
Just like an incredible experience, like actually competing for Trinity in this like kind of, it was like a historical golf match. Like they only do it once every 2 years, and they let me come along and just kind of hang out with them. And so that was like a pretty cool aspect. And it was a good look into Irish culture just because golf's like pretty old, and like there's a lot of different histories around golf courses. And it was like a really just cool experience to see that.
Okay, thanks a lot. So unfortunately, Tom and Ann have to leave us, but we appreciate your coming. And I think one of the things that I'd like to draw out from their experiences is they both were committed to something, not just to their academics, but something social. And so that ability to be together in a group really served them well and helped them tie into the community and into Trinity and Dublin. So that's an important lesson to learn, is to get engaged quickly when you get there. You guys have anything else you want to add?
One, the SSP program.
Yep.
Really awesome. I was very thankful that we got to do that, and that we just had that experience, because we met a lot of people who were kind of going through the same stuff we were going through. And so the first semester definitely.
Can I just interrupt you, Tom? Just so for the students who aren't familiar with it, this SSP is the semester startup program. It's a 3-week program at the beginning, before the term, that Holy Cross requires you to take, but you don't pay any extra for it. And it gives you background in Irish history and architecture and music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of get settled into like where you're living and how the city works and kind of how you're going to get classes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you go on a lot of really cool field trips as well, which was that was so incredible. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you guys for coming, and we'll be in touch. And are students able to contact you if they connect with you, what you said? Or is it all right if they reach out to you?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
do they have my email or even?
Well, they have your name, Thomas Murray. It'll come up in the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please email us. Like, if you
Yeah.
have any questions, I'd love to tell you about it.
Yeah, I'd love to talk. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Have a good class. See you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Julia, I don't think we've welcomed you, and we have an A and an S here. Are you guys returnees or students?
Student. Yeah, I'm a student as well.
No. But did you go, or are you looking to go?
Looking to go.
That's right. You too, Shannon, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I should point out that we lost two of our students, Tom Murray and Ann Bosner. They had to go to a class, but you can get their testimonials online. And if Hayden, you and Aaron, and is Julia still here? If she's still here, could you just bear with me, and I'll just give a little opening presentation on Trinity. I don't have pictures. If you're able to go to Trinity and qualified to go to Trinity, then you can certainly find your own images. But I will say that Trinity is as beautiful a campus as you'll find anywhere in the world. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous campus. The school is the oldest school in Ireland. It was founded in 1592 by Queen Elizabeth I. It is considered right now, as of 2021, one of the most prestigious universities in Europe. It is partnered with Oxford University and Cambridge University. If you get a degree from one school, then you are eligible to do a degree from the other. So it's up in the top rank of all universities, certainly in Europe. And in the world, it's in the top 100. So it's a great place academically. It's got a number of historic, it's considered the most prestigious university in Ireland. It has a number of famous alums. You may have heard of Oscar Wilde and Jonathan Swift, or the philosopher Edmund Burke, or the writer Samuel Beckett. They all graduated from Trinity. So it's an impressive place. It also is the home to the most important tourist attraction in Ireland, or certainly one of the most, the Book of Kells, which is an illuminated manuscript, which means it's the four Gospels that were done with painting and images from about 800. Kells is the abbey north of Dublin, about 40 miles where it was originally housed. And on top of the Book of Kells, they have this amazing library called the Long Room, which has got a number of beautiful books and historical things. It has, and those of you who know Guinness and know the harp on Guinness, it's a national symbol for Ireland. It's a harp, a wooden harp from the 15th century, which is in the Long Room. Hayden and Aaron, did you guys see that? The harp? Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. Yeah,
it looks old, but also in perfect shape. And it's the 1400s. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean they do a great job of kind of creating into a little museum, and you sort of just walk up the stairs like from this little gift shop that seems very, I don't know, average, and you just walk stairs, and you just kind of come up into this like amazing high ceilinged library kind of, but it also almost feels like a banquet room of sorts. And the woodwork is really intricate, and a lot of little busts and statues. It's really great. I brought a lot of my guests there because Trinity students get in for free, which is awesome.
Yeah. So Andrea and Shannon, feel free to interrupt at any time if you have questions, okay? Oh, okay, you guys are muted. Yeah, so I assume you can unmute. We're so small a group, unless you got dogs barking in the back, it's fine. So, so anyway, one of the great things about Trinity is it's right smack dab in the middle of Dublin, right? It's a 42-acre campus, and it is drop dead gorgeous. You walk through what's called Front Gate, and you're in this big quad, they call them squares, it's Front Square, and it's all 18th century Georgian architecture. It's very, very regal and lovely. It's
Giving me chills just thinking about it, Professor.
yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, and there's a bell tower called the Campanile, which was built in as a matter of fact, it was built in the 1850s by the same architect who built Queen's College that Tom was talking about earlier in Belfast. So it's a beautiful space. The other amazing thing is you heard the semester startup program mentioned. I was in Trinity when they were thinking about doing the semester startup program, but they were worried they weren't going to get enough students. And so we said, well, we'll require all our students to go. And they were amazed. And that it's actually Holy Cross that allowed the semester startup program to actually run. And we have a great relationship with Trinity. And as a result, students have on-campus housing. And we're the only college or university, maybe Notre Dame, but I think we're the only one.
Notre Dame does.
Notre Dame does, yeah.
Yeah.
Those two have
Not guaranteed, but they do.
well, we have guaranteed student housing. And there are graduate students who would kill for these rooms that you got. It's an amazing place. So, you know, in the summertime, they rent out for big money. So you you have great housing. We should talk a little bit, I mentioned it before, but just the semester startup program. I don't think Andrea and Shannon, you were here. This is a great 3-week program run out of the history department, which gives you a background into Irish history and culture, architecture, music, literature. It's a great program and lots of good field trips. So it's a 3-week period where you get a chance to settle down, get a lay of the land, move into the city, and so on. It's fabulous. And then you have what's called Freshers Week, which is a week in which you, all in that front square I was talking about, students set up tables and you get to join societies. And Holy Cross will pay for up to $200 worth of your society membership dues. So all you have to do is submit them. So you really need to get engaged. Andrea and Shannon, when you see the testimonials from Tom and Ann, you'll see that they got involved, and that really, in the clubs and societies, and that really made their thing. Aaron and is Julia still here? Julia, you there? No. Aaron, do you have any comments about how you got engaged?
I'm just looking at, I didn't go yet. I'm a sophomore right now.
You're a sophomore.
Yeah.
Good. Do you have questions?
I'm not sure at the moment. I think just kind of about more just classes about like course load, how many courses you take, and how that goes, if you found it like comparable to Holy Cross.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, first I'm just I'll introduce myself a little because everyone else already did that, but yeah, so I'm Hayden Ivitz. I'm a computer science major at Holy Cross, and I also did computer science at Trinity. So yeah, I mean, the course load is definitely very different. I think my course load was a lot different even than some of the people that did history, because I think a lot of the people that go to Trinity usually do history. But I actually took a lot of computer science classes, which were, it's almost like you take more classes to get the same amount of learning in. That's kind of the way I would describe it. So like for computer science, at least, I would take at Holy Cross, I would take 2 computer science classes a semester, and that's like a lot. That's like a pretty big workload. At Trinity, I think I took 3 or 4 each semester, and that was about the same amount of work. So you generally take like 5 or 6 classes, or at least I did both semesters. I took 6 the first one, 5 the second one. And I think overall it ends up being around the same amount of work. I think it's the same amount of studying, it's the same amount of learning, but it's definitely like less assignments. It's less like, you know, you have assignments due every week, you have a quiz every week. Like for most of my classes, it was you have maybe one paper and then an exam, or maybe two papers and exam, or no papers and just a midterm exam and a final exam, or just a final exam. So it's a lot of just like keeping up with the work by yourself, which for me was pretty difficult because I got very good at the Holy Cross system, and then it changed on me, and it was a little hard to get used to. But you know, you adapt pretty quickly, and you kind of figure out what works for you and what works for the classes you're in, and just how to manage your time like that. I mean, everything abroad is going to be an adjustment. Literally everything is, because you're in a completely new place with mostly new people. But honestly, to me, that was the fun of it. I mean, I loved the change. I loved getting used to new things. I loved meeting new people and getting used to new school. And I think Ann and Tommy talked about the history classes and how it was nice that they were small. Honestly, something for me that I found kind of refreshing was that the classes were huge. Like most of the classes that I went to were really big. And it was kind of cool to see the other perspective of a bigger university, a research university, and how that sort of works. Because we don't really have that at Holy Cross that much. So it was cool for me to see that other perspective. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the basics of the academics. I also got involved with the Trinity Ultimate Frisbee team, which was probably the best decision I ever made at abroad. I started right away, like freshers week I joined, and I immediately had like 20 Irish friends that were so welcoming to me and would invite me to go out with them, invite me to, you know, study with them, or, you know, even go on like little trips to their country houses in Cork or Limerick or Galway or something like that, and do all these kinds of awesome things. And so it was really incredible just to be on a team and feel like I'm actually part of the Trinity community and not just a random American student who's just kind of there to party or whatever.
Great. So
Yeah.
let me back up a little bit from Hayden's description about how the courses played out for him, and say just the structure of it in general. At Holy Cross, we take 4 courses a semester. That's the normal load. And they do it not by number of courses, but by number of credits. They're called European Community Transfer credits. It's the same in all of the European community. And you take 30 of those per semester. And one course may be 5 credits. And if all your courses are 5 credits, you have to take 6 courses, because that means you get your 30, which is a full load. Some courses, though, in different subjects may be 15 or 20 credits. So you just have to make sure you get the 30. But we'll talk more about that at the pre-departure. When you're looking at Trinity Online, you'll see that they don't call courses, they call them modules. So you'll want to, when you're writing your essay, you want to try to incorporate the nomenclature that Trinity uses. So it's clear that you're engaged in them as an institution. So, but what Hayden is saying is absolutely accurate. At Trinity and just about anywhere in Europe, there's not going to be, or abroad, it's a very different system from liberal arts, where you're kind of given day by day what your assignments are. You are expected to do your own work. Just to give you an example of that, a couple of Octobers ago, I got a call actually from a student at St. Andrews who I knew she was going to call, so I had her records and her transcript. She was an A student, and she said, you know, I want to come home next semester. And I said, well, why? She said, it's just really not challenging enough. And I said, well, have you gotten any grades back? She said, yeah, I got one paper in English. And I said, well, how'd you do? She said, well, I got a B. And I said, well, you're an A student, you got a B, and that doesn't compute. If you say it's not challenging, how come you're getting the B? She said, well, that's true. The comment was that I write well, but I didn't use enough secondary sources in my paper. No one told her to use secondary sources. It would just assume that she would do it. So she ended up making that adjustment and realizing she shouldn't be doing just what she was told to do. She should be doing what she needed to do for her own investigations and pursuits, right? she had to be the one to legislate, not the professor. Erin, do you want to talk a little bit about your academics? This is Erin Reinhardt. Do you want to introduce yourself? And
Yeah, I'm Erin. I'm a sophomore. I'm a
oh, there
political
was another Erin here before. That's why I'm confusing. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So you actually can comment on that. So sorry.
It's
So
me,
do you-
Professor.
Huh?
It's just me.
It's just you now, huh? Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we could be a lot worse, Hayden.
Thank you.
So we talked about accommodation. We've talked about the academics, and you're 60. You'll take 30 per semester. How do you guys feel? I'd like to get you guys a little bit involved. Shannon, what do you think about going abroad for the year? Does that seem a little off-putting to you, or are you eager to embrace it, or?
The year seems like a lot, but another thing that's on my mind right now is I'm not particularly optimistic that we'll be back on campus in the spring. So then I'd only have like maybe one more year on campus. So I am hesitant to take a whole other year off there. But I've definitely heard friends who've planned to take a semester to go abroad, and then they take the whole year, and they said they couldn't see themselves doing it any other way.
Yeah.
So I feel as though, like, regardless of which way it would go, I would just like to be able to have the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, what's important really is your engagement at Holy Cross, your engagement at Trinity, or wherever you go. What do you think, Annie? Thank you, by the way, Shannon. How do you feel about that?
I agree with Shannon. I think I've heard so many like overwhelming reviews about people like wanting to always go back when they go abroad, and I just think it might be a unique experience to get embraced in the culture for even longer. And kind of like Shannon said, like the one con of it is we might not have that year on or semester on campus, but you never know.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, I don't know how that's going to go. Nobody does at this point, but I will just say you will have your senior year, and that will more than likely be on campus.
I was promised my senior year too, Professor.
Say what?
I'm just joking.
Oh, well, you don't have all of your senior year on
I know.
campus. I know. It's a drag.
It was worth it though. Even without senior year, totally worth it.
There you go. Andrea, what are you thinking about? Andrea, are you there? You're on mute. I guess not. So again, are you guys have any questions for us?
Hello.
Hi, how are you, Lily?
Good. Sorry I came so late. Can only join now.
Okay, so we already done it before. Hayden, you've already talked a bit, but I want to make sure that Erin and now Lily have a chance to sort of give you their capsule version of what made their experience at Trinity so special. So, Erin, you want to start? Oh, that's a different Erin. Oh my God. Here we go. Lily, you want to start?
Yeah. So what sort of made it different for me was my experience, especially with my housemate and just getting to know a lot of the Irish people there. They're super friendly. And especially my roommate took me to like all of her favorite, places to eat and everything. So that's like the most memorable. I still text her, call her, trying to get her to come here at some point. So that is definitely what made my experience the most special. So.
Well, what about your academics and the experience with Trinity and that sort of thing? Yeah.
With the academics, so I'm a history and psych major, for all of you. And I think that the classes that they offered at Trinity for history, at least, those are my favorite, were just so diverse. I took histories of Transylvania, environmental history, food and drink history in the early modern period, which are just so different from what you get at Holy Cross. there's so many more offerings. Same with psych too, if any of you are psych majors. But that's sort of my take. They're also, the system of learning is very different. And while you have to adjust now in my classes coming back, you sort of meld the two. I think theirs is very research-based and independent learning, which is very helpful now because a lot of what we have to do via Zoom is, you know, being motivated by yourself or going and researching by yourself. So,
And when you think about it, sorry to interrupt, but when you think about it, once you leave Holy Cross and go to law school or go to work, you're going to have to be independently motivated. You're not going to have a class dean checking in with you and stuff. So it's great training for life, for the future. So I'm sorry, Lily, I didn't mean to interrupt.
oh no, that's fine. But that's sort of my spiel on the academics.
Okay. Hayden, do you want to, you already talked about academics. Is there any other aspect of your experience you'd like to?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of talked about the Frisbee team and how amazing that was. I mean, that was like, there was these two big ultimate tournaments that were in Ireland. And it's kind of like a whole weekend thing where it's a big tournament and there's like a big party on Saturday night that you meet all the other teams. So like those were two of the best weekends I had in Ireland by far. I mean, I traveled, I'd say an average amount. Like I went to some pretty cool places around Europe, but nothing compared to just traveling around Ireland and staying with random Irish people's parents for tournaments and just meeting all these, you know, Irish college students that my friends all knew. It was honestly incredible. And I am actually going to go back in the spring to Ireland to this big tournament that they have every year. And it's kind of a tradition that people that graduate or people that were abroad there come back for that tournament and stay for the whole week. So I'm definitely planning on doing that this year, which will be amazing. I can't wait. So those friendships I made like will definitely last. I mean, I still text a lot of the people that I met there. But I think one thing I just wanted to highlight quickly is I don't think I can underemphasize how awesome it is to be in the location in Dublin that you're in. Like Trinity is literally in the most prime location in Dublin by a lot. Like I don't think I can really emphasize that. It's the best. I mean, like literally everything you could possibly want to do is 15-minute walk away or an easy bus ride away, because all buses in Dublin lead to the center where Trinity is. So all the buses are accessible. The airport's really accessible if you wanted to do some traveling. And that was probably the best part of just living in Dublin, is just being so central. And like, you know, if you wanted to go out or whatever, like it's so easy, or at restaurants or really anything, like it's so easy to just walk places. Like people that were at UCD that I was friends with would have to take a taxi if they wanted to go out or really do anything.
Or bus.
Or bus, yeah. But like if it was like, you know, later at night, you'd have to take a taxi home, which is like expensive and not great. So that was really something that I wasn't thinking about when I went there, but was just unbelievable. And honestly, I don't think really any other study abroad program is as central in a city as Trinity is to Dublin. So if you really want the city feel and like just be in the center of everything, then Trinity is the place to be.
But it's really also a very manageable home city.
Absolutely.
Just sort of to elaborate on Hayden's point. I don't know if you were here when I was talking about the front gate. You get in the main gate, and you get into the front gate, you get into front square. If you walk back out of them, right across from you is the House of Parliament and the original Bank of Ireland. And then you just keep walking a little ways, and then you get to the River Liffey. You cross the bridge, and you're right in the main street, which is O'Connell Street, which is where the uprising took place. And you know, all the famous cafes and hotel bars are there. I mean, it really is. And even closer are the National Gallery, which is free. You can pop into the National Gallery. They have a Rembrandt. They have two Vermeers, and they're only 30-something in the world. So it's an amazing cultural center. And the Erin who was here before, who was a student, was a theater major, and she talked about the Abbey and the Gate theaters and the student theater. And I think what you'll find is that the Irish are incredibly literary. The theater is a major part of their life. What's going on at the Abbey, what's playing at the Abbey or the Gate are just as important as for a lot of people as what the football teams are doing. By that I mean soccer teams and stuff. So it's just a really fun city and a great place to be. So go ahead.
Just briefly, one more thing.
Yeah.
What you said about it being like a really home, like it feels like home. Like the city is just very homey. I think for a couple of reasons. It's just the people there are incredible, and it just always feels like there's something going on. And the way I would kind of describe it to people that have been to other European cities, I think a lot of other European cities, like a lot of German cities or Austrian cities, or maybe even French cities, sometimes feel almost too perfect. Like they're gorgeous, gorgeous cities, but they're so clean and so pristine and so precise that it doesn't even feel like home. But Dublin is definitely not like that. It's like clearly lived in. It's a little dirty, but it's got this charm to it that I just can't really describe, and it's incredible. I wouldn't really trade it for any other city.
You guys want to talk a little bit, at least what you can, about nightlife there, what you do out at night and stuff?
Billy?
Hayden is probably better for this question.
You can start.
I personally enjoy just going for a couple drinks and not really like to clubs, which you can do. But if you're like me, like Hayden and was saying, was you can walk everywhere in 10, 15, tops 20 minutes.
It's safe.
Sorry.
It's safe if you're with people.
Oh yeah, I always felt safe, which as a girl you always get kind of worried about. So city's super safe. I don't know. I thought it was a lot of fun, but I didn't do any sort of late night things. That's Hayden's part.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Was there Irish music? Did you go see Irish?
Oh yeah. No, I did. There's a lot of if you walk around, if you go there, there's music playing like in pubs all around. In pubs or bars, that you can just go and walk in if you want to. Or like you were saying, I went to like a musical at night, see The Sound of Music. I also went to like a lot of movies. There's some really cool movie theaters there, but yeah, I didn't go to any.
Go to the Kilmartin jail?
No, that I had that booked the day after I left. So.
Oh no!
I know.
Me too.
You did?
Like very close to like when I was gonna leave. Yeah.
Oh shoot! The Kilmartin jail is it's a round jail. It's called a panopticon. It's round, and it's got a round cylinder in the middle, and the wardens sit in there, and they look at all the jail cells, which are small. I mean, it's really almost like dog kennels, and it's where they took the people from the Easter uprising. They took them to the Kilmartin jail, and then they did a sort of kangaroo court trial in the chapel there, and took them outside in this really small grass garden that has a wall, stood them up against the wall and shot them. And so it's a really special place for the heart of the Irish, because it was for the first real big movement of independence started certainly in modern day Ireland. So it's a special place. Plus, you pass the Guinness factory on the way. And you pass the Institute for Contemporary Art on the way. So there's lots of things to see and do. All right, guys, you guys who are listening, what have we not said to you? What do you want to ask these folks? Annie, can we begin with you?
I'm not sure if I have anything right now off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Hi, I'm Brendan Ryan.
Oh, I didn't see you up there, Brennan. Sorry, you were off my field.
No, it's okay. I'm Brendan Ryan. Sorry, I popped in late. But I'm also a theater English major. And I
Yeah.
don't know if the other Aaron that was here could have answered this better, but is there even like opportunities to do theater abroad in like audition?
Yeah. And who was here earlier, like was fully involved in the theater program. We actually had another friend, or I had another friend from another school who also is really into the theater at Trinity. So yeah, certainly a lot of opportunities, and they loved it. I mean, they had a blast. I honestly kind of wish I did it because the theater people look so fun.
I know.
They were always having a good time. So like,
Yeah.
definitely seemed like a good time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, she said, I mean, it's going to be recorded. You can go and watch the recording and fast forward to her presentation. And she talked a lot about theater and how important it was to her. So yeah, that's a good thing.
And do you guys live on because both my sisters, they studied at Trinity and they went to Notre Dame, but they lived on the campus. And I was wondering, but one of my friends, went to Fordham. She lived like maybe like a block away. And so I was wondering if you guys actually lived on the campus or just off.
Notre Dame and Holy Cross are the only two schools that have on-campus housing. Ours is guaranteed, theirs isn't. So,
Mm-hmm.
So you will live on campus. If you go to Trinity, you will definitely live on campus.
Well, I mean,
Which is huge.
things can change, but yeah,
True.
yeah. I don't know what the block is where your Fordham friend lived, but Trinity campus, if you walk across Trinity campus from Front Square to the back, and you cross the street, that's a big dorm called Goldsmith. And Goldsmith is not technically on campus, but there's above the street tunnel that takes you straight into the gym from Goldsmith. So even though it is really on campus for all intents and purposes. So you guys want to describe your rooms where you lived? Hayden, you want to start?
Yeah, so I lived in Pierce Street Apartments, which is pretty different than what the rest of the people that were there our year lived in. But mine it's kind of in the middle of campus near the rugby pitch. Actually, right next to the theater, right next to like the theater building was where I lived. Right on Pierce Street, like, you know, my window is literally on Pierce Street, like right there. And I had a single room with my own bathroom. It was pretty small, but it was honestly plenty of room for me. Like Tommy and Lily and everyone else kind of had like really nice apartments, which were sweet. But you know, I was content with my room. I spent a lot of time in their rooms, but it was, you know, definitely more than what you need. And you have like a kitchen that you share with the 6 floor mates. So it was cool kind of like getting to know my floor mates. It was a really diverse crowd, honestly. Like there's people from all over the world. Like my neighbor was this Indian guy who was getting his PhD in artificial intelligence, and he had a family that lived back in India that he'd always, you know, talk about. And he would always invite me over for dinner and invite other people in the floor over for dinner, and we kind of had a nice little community, which is really nice. But yeah, that's kind of the basics of it.
How about you, Miss Lily, with your fancy apartment?
Not fancy, but I had lived in Botany Bay, which is pretty similar to most of the other apartments compared to Hayden. So if you've ever seen pictures of Trinity, it has a bunch of vines on the outside, and it overfaces the tennis courts, which is cool. And I would just watch people play tennis. But I had my own bedroom, and I had one housemate, and we shared a bathroom, dining room, kitchen combo with a living room. And it was really nice. I mean, plenty of space, and it's nice to have your own room. So
I was just gonna say, Lily, the tennis courts are like pristine.
they are.
So nice.
I know.
And they're like in like an alley almost, kind of, right?
Yeah,
They're
that's
like,
right where she
they're
lives,
like,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's where I lived. Like
Yeah.
I was that building that like it is not actually an alley, but like it's
like a
enclosed. Yeah.
Courtyard.
And then I just have another quick question. Sorry.
Oh, the more questions, the better. That's why we're here.
Sorry.
How competitive is it? So like, if you have a 3.5, like, can you get in, or like is it extremely competitive?
Well, I was saying earlier before, I think you were on board, or maybe I just didn't see you, that Holy Cross has a very special relationship with Trinity, and we cultivate that relationship, and we only send students who we know they'll take. So yeah, if you have a 3.5 and you write well and you seem, there's no, yeah, ultimately the decision isn't mine, so I can't promise you that you'll get in, but I can say over the 15 years that I've been doing this with Trinity, maybe it's 16 now, no one I recommended has not gotten in. But I have turned some people down, right? So if they're not qualified, or if I don't think it's a good fit. But yeah, it's the value of the relationships we have with our partners, and Trinity's a particularly strong relationship. So yeah. Huh?
It's really nice because even a lot of the professors or all the deans know Holy Cross, which I wasn't really expecting that, but like, oh, you're from Holy Cross, and they knew you, so it was pretty nice.
Yep.
One thing I'll say about that briefly is, like, me and Lily both had a lot of friends who weren't from Holy Cross. They went to other American schools, and they either went through like some other like kind of bigger program that wasn't through their school, or maybe their school program. And it was pretty crazy how much better our program is. Like, to put
Thank you, Hayden.
Put it bluntly.
Good.
Just because like they had so many issues with like getting their classes transferred, getting housing, paying for dumb little things that they shouldn't have to pay for. I don't know, tons of different stuff. Like the Fiona and she's this lady who takes us out to like cultural events, which was really fun. Those are some of my favorite nights, honestly. It was really good. But yeah, just I think once you get there, like, we always knew Holy Cross program was good, but at Trinity it really shows like significantly how much better, and how much the relationship means to Trinity. So I'll say that.
Yeah. So we do have two dedicated advisors. We have an academic advisor, Mae Foreman, who teaches in the social work, School of Social Work there. Her grandfather was part of the Easter Uprising. Did she tell you that?
I don't think so.
I don't think she did, actually. No.
No, she doesn't wear it on her sleeve, but yeah. And
She's stuff.
Huh?
She's awesome.
Yeah, Maeve is amazing. Yeah. And so is Fiona, who does the cultural advising. And you guys have a fairly large budget, so she'll take you to plays, or she'll take you to Irish music. Or you want to talk about some of those events, Lily, where you went?
Yeah. So first semester we had a few of them. So we went to a rugby game, which was a lot of fun, and we went to dinner at Fiona's house, and she cooked for all of us. That was a good time.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And then we went to, it was, I want to say it was, I forget what theater it was, but it was part of, there's like a month, I'm forgetting the exact term of it, but there's basically plays or skits every single night for a week or two. So we went to this comedy sketch and got dinner beforehand at this Mongolian barbecue restaurant, which is really fun.
That was great.
That was a great night.
UCD kids didn't show up because they're lame.
Yeah. So we got the full budget. It was fine. So, and then we went and walked over to the sketch place, and it was this comedy sketch. It was hilarious. So it was really fun events. So
yeah. So and they're also there if you need anything, you know, they'll support you. The other thing that's true for all our programs is that when you go on a Holy Cross program, you're automatically enrolled in International SOS, which is, you know, a international risk management company. They're there if something happens. They helped us get people out of, you know, crazy places when the COVID hit. But they have health insurance. So they can set up counseling for you if you need counseling, or if you need medical attention, they can set that up. So it's free. I mean, it's not free. You pay the same health service fee that you pay at Holy Cross, but it's the top of the line service. So your parents can know that you have protection. They can set stuff up for you in advance if you have pre-existing conditions. They need treatment, they can do all that for you. So that's true on any program that we run. But I think we're in our third year now, and it's just been really great. So that's peace of mind. Quinn, do you have any questions?
I guess might be a dumb question, but I just don't know much about Trinity College in general. How big is the student population, and how would you compare the campus to Holy Cross size-wise?
Well, the campus is 42 acres. I don't know how big Holy Cross is, but it's
similar.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, it's about the same.
It's flat though.
Yeah, if you flatten Holy Cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it would be.
Yeah. And there's 18,000 students, that's undergraduate and graduate, and about 1,400 faculty members. So, you know, it's a lot bigger than Holy Cross in terms of the student body, but it doesn't feel that way when I'm there.
No one lives on campus.
No one lives on campus, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they all commute.
So it doesn't feel big in that sense.
Mhm.
Any other questions, Quinn?
No, not really. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Aaron, how about you?
I don't think I have any other questions for now. Thanks.
Okay. And Annie?
I guess I'm a little curious. So, Lily, you said you were a double major. So how did that work? Like, did you feel stressed at all with like getting things completed or anything?
No, I'm actually, are you a double major too?
I'm debating it.
Okay. That is something that I considered before I actually declared my majors, was if I could go abroad. But I'm totally fine. I'm actually way ahead of where I'm supposed to be for my majors. It depends which majors you are. Psych and history were very easy, especially history, because you can have 2 courses per semester per major.
Not every major. It depends.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
every major.
Oh, sorry. So I would talk to your department head before you would go, and they'll let you know, or it's probably on their website. But at least for history and psych, they take 2 per semester, so I could easily get everything done.
Annie, do you know what you're thinking about majoring in?
Possibly psych and econ. So.
Econ's tough. I was an econ and computer science double major before I went to Trinity, and I really tried to finagle it and get it to all line up. But the econ department's a little bit strict with stuff like that. So
some would say closed-minded.
So I would agree with that, Professor Smith. I would also agree with that.
Yeah.
But you know, that's their you know, that's that. But I ended up I really wanted to go abroad and go to Trinity, so I just ended up not doing the econ major and just doing computer science. So that's their loss, if you ask me. But
here's the deal with econ, Annie. They only if you have a chance, you need to be sure you take micro theory. So yeah, if you can only take macro or micro, take micro. Take both if you can, because that's good preparation for being abroad. But if you only have room for one, take micro, because that allows you to take 2 courses abroad. You can take a lower level calculus-based elective and an upper level calculus-based elective. That's all. So you only get 2 courses in econ. For psych, as Lily said, you'll get 4. So you just need to maybe double up next semester on econ, and if you think you want to be an econ major. And then I think you only need 9 for the major. So it's not like you have a lot to get, but it may mean that you end up in your senior year taking 2 and 2 econ courses. And if you have to take 3 and 2, that's a tough load.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, Annie, if you have more like specific questions about that with econ, just email me because I went through the entire process. So like I know it pretty well at this point. Obviously the outcome was different than you're hoping for, but just reach out to me and I can, kind of answer any more specific questions or who you should get in touch with.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if you have questions about psych, because there's other requirements for psych that you can take at Trinity too. So.
But for psych, you want to try to make sure that you've done research methods and statistics before you go. Those are the best things to take. So if you can get that done this year, that would be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sure English translates pretty well. No.
Oh, English is great. Yeah, they have a terrific English department. Yeah, English is good. English you could take 4 for the year, and they've been known to accept 5, but I think they're starting to stop that now. But yeah, that's not a problem. So it's coming to the witching hour here. We just hit 8. So again, I'm Professor Smith. I'm the Director of Study Abroad, and I'm here to help you.